onto a progressive,
onto a progressive,
positive
Positive.
positive
path.
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 I relinquish all negative feelings
I
I relinquish
relinquish all
all
negative
negative feelings
feelings
associated with every negative situation
associated
associated
with
with every
every
negative
negative situation
situation
that I have encountered in this life,
that I
that
have
I have
encountered
encountered in
in this
this
life,
life
in that life,
and that life
other life.
and
other
that
life.
other life.
I give it all back to you.
I
I
give it
give it
all
all
back
back
to
to
you.
you.
I call into
I
existence
call into existence
peace,
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 joy,
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 love,
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 trust,
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 respect,
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 honor,
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 courage,
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 confidence,
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 compassion,
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 support,
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 strength,
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 patience,
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 protection,
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 guidance,
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 understanding,
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 forgiveness,
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 emotional,
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 mental,
spiritual,
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 and physical healing,
and physical
physical
healing,
healing,
abundance in every area of my life,
abundance
abundance
in
in
every
every
area
area
of
of
my
my
life,
life,
and a clear thought process.
and
and
a
a
clear
clear
thought
thought
process.
process.
I thank you in advance
I
I
thank
thank
you
you
in
in
advance
advance
for recognizing all of my needs
for
for
recognizing
recognizing
all of
all of
my
my
needs
needs
and taking me on this new journey,
and taking
and
me on
on
this
this
new
new
journey,
journey,
one which I deserve
one which I
one which I
deserve
deserve
and I am ready for.
and I
and I
am ready
am ready
for.
for.
And so it shall be.
And
And so
so
it
it
shall
shall
be,
be,
And so it shall be.
and
and
so it
so it
shall
shall
be.
be,
And so it shall be.
and so it shall be.
So we're going to bring it into the right now. In the spiritual world, we live in the right now. That's all we have is right here, right now. So repeat after me. And so it is.
And so it is,
So it is.
and so it is,
So it is.
and so it is.
All right, we're going to take our last final 3 deep breaths. This time, before we blow them out, we're going to imagine ourselves collectively mighty winds blowing away all of our cares, our concerns, our worries, our disappointments, our heartaches, our heartbreaks, our stresses, those X's. We're going to blow all of that unwanted, unneeded, unnecessary energy away. So, on the count of three, I want you all to breathe in and blow out like you've never breathed in or blown out before. One, two, three, let's go. Breathe in and blow out. Again, breathe in and blow out. One final time, breathe in and blow out.
Thank you, ma'am, because we definitely needed that. And in the in between time of you giving us our spiritual cleanse, Mr. Chris Collins has joined us for the convo. Good morning, Mr. Collins.
Good morning. Good morning.
How you feeling out there in Illinois?
I'm doing all right. Most definitely feel better.
You a little low. See if I can get you.
Yeah, I
There
was
you
trying
go.
to keep my
Let me
voice
know when you
down.
get a chance because I want to do an intro so I can let them know.
Uh, so how'd you say you were feeling? I'm sorry.
I'm feeling better.
You're feeling better. All right. So any news updates you got for us? You've been out there working hard with Subaru and everyone else.
I haven't heard anything new from Subaru. Uh, um, I did hear from the factory. I mean, from the from the guy from corporate, but I didn't hear from the national marketing office yet.
Okay.
So we're still waiting on that one. I went to some churches, and I was working at one yesterday and hanging some sheetrock in one of their offices, and when the lead pastor came in, of course he came back where I was at, and before he left, I figured I'm gonna holler at him because I'm gonna put him on spot. It's time. I don't want to hear nothing. I want to hear yes, 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 and move forward. And it's just because of what I know they were fixing to spend this year on a building that they have that's only going to give them like 6 apartments. And I told them, I said, I want every church that you're affiliated with and all this food and all this situation, everything you guys are doing, I want every one of them. I said, I want all of them to put on the dotted line how much they'll put toward this project, and the land costs 30 grand. I said, I don't want to hear anything else. I don't want to hear nothing else.
Nothing else.
And I put him on spot right in front of some people too. But I also showed him, I said, I don't have time to wait. I said, the dying wishes of the man that had this property was for me to have it and to do something to change lives in this community. I said, he gave me a property that he had valued at $75,000 for 30 grand. I said, now I can't come up with the 30 grand, and I'm done. Y'all have it, and I don't want to hear it.
So sound like progress is being made. That's what's up.
It is being made because I put him on spot, and his name's Charles Aarons, and he runs the Abundant Life Church in Bloomington, Illinois, and it is a place. Basically, the homeless come there and have lunch every day, but they have church every day right before lunch. But there's clothing there. They do good for the community for what it is because it gives them a warming spot as well. But it's time to change things.
Absolutely.
What is going on is just continually keeping. I see them. They're not changing lives. They're helping them. Okay, them band-aids are out there and they help keep the dirt out, but it still gets in, especially when you get it wet. But I told them, I said, I don't want to hear anything but how much you guys are putting in. When I showed him the message that the family sent me and told me this was the last thing to finish the foundation for their mother, and if I didn't do it, somebody else was going to get it. I told him, I said, you see that message, right?
So I'm glad to hear that, Mr. Aarons, and hopefully you can get something going and we can get him invited onto the show. I know that many people have some updates they want to chime in, and I'm gonna come back to you, and so you can give us some more updates and what's going on. Mr. Clements, you got some updates up there?
Well, there is, as you have stated, we had a meeting last night, and that meeting was a report to Chicago and dealing with the excessive force working group out of Chicago. And this was a panel that was implemented to address excessive force by members of the Chicago Police Department in wake of the George Floyd murder that took place in Minneapolis, Minnesota. We made 155 recommendations, which the city of Chicago basically ignored 150, accepted 5 of those recommendations. The 5 recommendations amount to just a sham. And, you know, what we looked at was lining up the Chicago Police Department excessive force policy with the DOJ report that was issued 2 years ago in the city of Chicago by the DOJ in wake of the Laquan McDonald's murder. Laquan McDonald was a 16-year-old boy in the city of Chicago, and he was shot 16 times by a police officer that engaged into illegal misconduct, and he was therefore found guilty of the crime and sentenced to, I think, 6.5 years inside of the Illinois Department of Corrections. As myself and others feel that the officer should have received much more prison time than 6.5 years. But it was a great start to take a look at some of these broken Jim Crow laws that have existed for many, many, many years, and they are layers of laws. And that's what people out here fail to realize, is that we have layers of laws that hold us intact of bondage. And, you know, when you are taking a fresh look at these laws, most people in society don't understand that it's layers and layers that you got to break down. So we gave a report back. Everyone who sat on this commission, you know, man, we dispute with the city of Chicago interrupting into our process of trying to reform this abusive police department that have engaged in so many different criminal acts and cost the city of Chicago over $1 billion. And I think in less than 10 years to pay for its misconducts. I don't think that they should pay for their misconducts. I think that they should need to be put into jail for engaging into intentional and deliberate wrongs upon members of society. And the thing about it is, when they participate in their wrongs, they ought to be treated just like anyone else.
What does it, in quick question? Actually, I have someone here in the studio, and I'm going to ask a question real quick, and I'm going to bring it back to you, Mr. Mark Clements.
Do you mind if I start the live? I wanted to make sure I speak on y'all radio station before I start, so they can know where I'm at and what I'm doing. And I was just going to give them y'all name and email address if they wanted to contact y'all.
Well, we've already got it started, but...
No, I didn't want to start it without doing the intro. So it would just be like they just heard me at the radio station just talking, and that would have just been weird. I should have did it when we all first started.
Yeah,
I'm so sorry.
yeah.
Next time I know. But this is my first time at the radio station since I was 17 years old.
So go ahead and click it on so we
Okay.
can do it as I'm talking to you, so there's no dead space.
Okay.
So, yes, go ahead.
Hey, what's up with y'all? It's Ron G, the realist. We are at the radio station, My City Music. You can look them up at mycitymusicradio.gmail.com.
My City, My Music.
My City, My Music. Sorry about that.
No, you're good. And so thank you and for you viewing and got your audience viewing. And so thank you to everyone on Underground Flavas. So Mr. Mark Clements had talked about what he and his organization was very powerful as far as even organizing it. Is that correct, Mr. Clements?
Yes, you know, because our organization is tied in with Black Lives Matters out of the city of Chicago. And not to say that one group is better than the other, but this is what we have to work with and we have to mobilize with, and to try to break down these barbaric, inhumane laws. These laws have held us in captivity since our existence in this country. And what we have decided to do is to take a serious look at our entire incarceration system as a whole, and to start to demand that they pay for their legal lynchings of so many African Americans, at least Black and brown people in this country.
So with that being said, so this man sits on a panel with groups of people that, and I mean, it was the Chicago Police Department. I mean, it was some very highfalutin people on this panel that he's a part of. He got to speak at. As a person, do you get that opportunity to be able to pull a panel like that together and speak?
No.
No. No.
Not at all.
Not at all. Do you have any experiences of anything with the judicial system, with law enforcement?
Yeah, somewhat.
someone.
but them being against me in a point where, like I was explaining to you when it comes to my background, of me being diagnosed with schizoaffective. I have had, they say, nervous breakdowns, and I have been in trouble with the law, CIA, different parts of the government, but never to the point where he's at, where I can like let my voice be heard. It's more so of, you don't need to speak this to people type thing. Keep it to yourself. So I think that what you guys are doing is very, it's just heartfelt for me because it can change the world. The words that you guys just was speaking before I went and started my live, I wish I would have started from the beginning with the healing part, with the praying and everything. We need that as a nation, but we also need it as a world, because it's worlds and nations and planets beyond where we at. And if we don't help this planet, how we gonna be able to save others? Because we might be the only ones that can do it, or they might be the only ones to do it for us. So I think it's way bigger, and I think what you guys are doing, it's so powerful and positive, but it's not on the big large platforms like the Wendy Williams shows and different things like that. So I think that this needs to be done a lot more in our communities.
And we're working on that. To get to Wendy, only difference between us and Wendy Williams is the backing, the money, and the team.
You're right.
So we can become that when people are willing to do and stay committed to the cause. So I've seen Wendy Williams. I'm glad you brought that up, because I even make mention of her show. I've seen her look absolutely a hot mess, but her team is holding up signs. They trying to give her cues. They trying to make sure, like, they have written the whole show out because they can cue her with the cards. I mean, I've seen, when they show the backgrounds, and that is important to me, because these people know that she might come on the set messed up, and they prepared to keep her on point.
Right.
Because they understand that her show is where it's at. So as a team, they got her back, and I give the Wendy Williams team. I don't care for her necessarily, but damn, can I get a team like that?
Yeah, and my biggest problem is like I'm more for the world. I have threatened the government if they don't give people $50 an hour minimum wage, and I'll kill Obama. And this was like 2016 when I threatened Obama, and I'm going live on my Facebook. They never blocked me from Facebook ever in life. So people get blocked every day for just saying the wrong thing, not me, because they know that I'm not really the force to be reckoned with. And when it comes to the world and people, I'm going to change the world, because God literally told me. He didn't give me a hint. So it's just like, I don't really play around when it comes to anything that I do in life, just on the strength that I do it for the world. And I might be against the government or different things like that at times, but I know it's good people within there. But if we don't get the things that we want, and once my voice get heard over everything, over all platforms, I will go against those people for the world, and that's just what I tell them or whatever. So it's just like they want to send the CIA to me when I'm in the psychiatric ward. I was just in the psychiatric ward from Friday of last week to Sunday, and they literally let me out within 72 hours when you're supposed to be by law in there for 72 hours, and they sent the CIA to come and talk to me and ask me was I going to the White House. There's no reason for me to go to the White House. I threatened y'all about that in 2016. Did I go? When I called the person over the state of Houston, and I asked them to let me know what's the problem and what's going on, they oh, okay, just don't do it. Okay, I'm not. And right now I'm at 32. I'm way past that. I was in my 20s then. I'm more grown as an adult. I don't got time to be going anywhere because I got too many things to do.
I mean, and so what I'm hearing is you were angry, and so you just vetted out. It's because you don't have the opportunities and platforms like Mr. Clements. Now to get to the opportunities that he has, I don't know if you know his story or not, but he did 28 years of being falsely incarcerated.
Wow.
So that's the part where people don't get, is the understanding of sometimes when people do have access, what they had to go through to get that type of access. People don't want to do that part.
Yeah.
They might want his position now, but I bet you they ain't gonna want to do that 28 years.
And I can relate to him because with me being a gay rap artist, for one, it's just hard for me. I got people just dissing me left and right. But with me also standing up for things like he do, I was incarcerated for attempted robbery to a Quick Trip, The one that Mike Brown around right in Ferguson that's knocked down now, where it's an urban league. I had went into that quick trip. I was having a nervous breakdown or whatever they want to call it, but I actually went in there and it was attempted robbery with a knife, and I ended up calling the police, going right to the part, calling the police on myself and just crying like I just robbed a quick trip. They let me out within 72 hours again when I went to the psychiatric ward after I talked to the investigators or whatever, and then I was in a high speed chase from St. Louis to Jefferson City. And I was like really like fiending for some attention from man in the world, but it was just like it was the wrong attention from man in the world. It was God that I was feigning attention from, and I'm a felon to this day because of that. So I got to work a lot harder than the average person. I have a job now, but I've been on Social Security basically my whole life because I can't even get a job, and I have a degree in business management. Went to school for 4 years, and I had a breakdown 3 or 4 times in the 4 years of me getting a degree. So I had to work hard to continue my path and my journey to be able to make something of myself, you know? So
What you're talking about is trauma.
yeah.
And so that's one of the things that Mr. Clements talks about. And he is over or runs or is involved with the Chicago Torture Justice Center. I got it right this time. He shook his head. Yes, he listening. He is doing 2 things. He has a retreat. Like I said, this man is involved in many panels, so he must be present at all these different things. But he still gives his time out for little old me on Underground Flavas. So definite super shout out to him as far as being passionate and committed to what he's doing.
Right.
And that's the part that I see that most people don't have. It's that relentless nature. If this means something to you and all you got is 30 minutes, baby, don't mean nothing to you.
Yeah.
You're not aggrieved for real.
Yeah.
People who commit their time and passion to something, Chris is another one. Trish is another one. That's all she does. She pulls cards. She reads. I mean, that's all she does.
Right.
That's that passion, that relentless nature that most people just don't have.
Yeah.
And when you don't have that, and these people are considered leaders, politicians, etc., where's people like us? Where we fall in at?
Yeah. And they can't see you right now, but I like your eye contact. You like really serious about what you're speaking on. But that's what I like, because this is very serious to me. And my family and friends, they wonder like, why he been snapping on lately and doing it? Because God told me when I go on this spiritual journey, everybody in the world gonna turn against me because they don't understand, because I got to be the one to do it. And once I do it, I cannot expect for people to not understand it at that point, because I'm not really gonna care. But for right now, I really don't care how people feel about me, what they think. I'm going to continue to do it. But once I become the person that I'm saying that I'm going to be, then I know for a fact that at least they see an example. We don't have an example. We don't have an example of anybody in history that has ever told a full 100% story without a lie. And I have been doing that my whole life, just not on platforms, because I had to sit behind the scenes and listen to everything that God was telling me, and everything that even the people that left before this earth, left this earth during the Martin Luther King's, I had to listen to those things. And then you have to also listen to the people that's even of the world now, because whatever energy is precipitated, it comes back, and that's knowledge as well.
Trisha Martin said you are already that person. She said you are a gifted rapper.
Oh, thank you.
And that's what I mean about being relentless. So she's watching. She's on the video, but then she comes on my screen because I got her tagged, and make sure that she comments.
Right.
So she really does listen.
Yeah.
Just like, and for the most part, we've had a very, very amazing, wonderful panel. We have a lot of opportunities coming up. So today we were going to go out and look at a court case and actually do it live. But it's supposed to be some very, very nasty weather coming into Missouri. So it may get postponed.
And it's supposed to be like that in a lot of other places as well.
Yeah, it's supposed to be super rainy, and my equipment is not set for rain. I did not forecast rain on the anniversary when I wanted to do it. But even if we don't go out there today, and hello, Miss Erica Brooks, even if we don't go out today, we're still going to talk about it, because today will be the anniversary of a court case. And I've talked about it before, and not everybody has read it, though. And so you got to read the victim's impact statement, though.
Yeah.
And when you read it, what did you think about it?
Well, the first thing that caught my attention was just the writing. I really couldn't understand everything. And a lot of the times when people do certain things like that, they don't want to give you the full story. And that's just what I was getting from it, and I was like losing interest from the beginning, because I'm like, why is certain words like, it was like certain words like black, African American, and you can understand those words clear and read it clear, but like other words, like when it was explaining in detail, I couldn't really see what the, what the person was trying to say. So are you clear with what you feel? Like, why would you not literally slow down and write everything clear for them to see it all? So I kind of felt like it was a little fabricated from the beginning. But once I got done reading it to the end, I'm a street guy. I don't want to say the word, but I'm a street guy, and that's not even how I would rob somebody. And I never even robbed nobody in my life, but I wouldn't even go about it that way, because if I'm gonna rob you and you a white guy and you in my neighborhood, you're not gonna have anything, and your life just might be taken just to make sure that you don't say anything. And I'm just being honest, so it just really didn't click. So
reading the court case,
mm,
it said that this robbery occurred from the back, that he got robbed, and the
7
pistol.
p.m.
Yeah, the pistol was put at the back of his head when he was robbed. And then you keep reading, and it says how he's seen a crystal clear look at one of the robbers. So scratch head. You got robbed from the back of your head, but in your statements you say you got a crystal clear look at the person.
Right.
So that's not even plausible.
Yeah.
It talks about how he went into his wallet and gave the robber money. That blew me away right there. I don't know what robbers is going to let you go in your wallet and give them what you want to give them. I thought robbers took the whole wallet. I'm just saying.
And it's funny because when you say that, I was just telling you about, like, when it come to rich people coming to the neighborhood, like our neighborhoods or whatever, I would actually rob them myself. If just, let's just say, I'm not gonna say the biggest rapper, but just to say a rapper in the industry comes to Ferguson, Missouri, where I live, it's not going to be pretty, because I'm not going to let you leave with nothing, because I'm gonna make sure I support my community with what you got, and it's gonna be enough. Just your chain, $100,000, we can do something with it. So what people don't understand is the fabricated things when it comes to speaking on things. Don't, if you're gonna tell a story or be truthful 100%. And I just don't feel like that person was truthful at all, to be honest. And my dad, not trying to be funny, but he used to be on Social Security, and he used to act like he got robbed at the stores all the time to get a replacement check. And that's what kind of reminded me of it. I'm like, this dude is trying to, figure out some way to get some extra money or something, because that's really what it sounded like to me, honestly. Like, he wanted to file a report so he can be able to, whatever $500 was in his wallet that he didn't have.
It was $5.
Yeah, $5.
$5. But what robber allows you to go in their wallet?
Yeah.
I mean, you're being robbed. I mean, so usually I would think that they want the whole wallet. They're not going to let you sit there and just thumb through your wallet and you give them the money out of it. Like, I've never heard of a robbery go down like that. And I'm around hood people all the time. People steal on all levels, but I've never heard a robbery to where they were nice about it.
Yeah.
Trisha.
Yeah, I never heard of a nice robbery. Well, I had a nice robbery at the Quick Trip. The guy told him in the courtroom that he didn't feel threatened. So that was a nice one. That's probably the only one in history. But other than that, no, it's not any.
I mean, so then you're saying there can be a nice robbery?
No, just one from just a person like me. I don't think nobody else can be a nice robber. But the guy did tell the courts, he was like, I didn't feel threatened by this man at all. And I only went to jail for 6 months for both of those charges. But yeah, it was nice. I mean, I tried. I wasn't really trying to rob them or anything like that. It was, like I said, it was like more fitting for attention. My friend, he didn't know I was going through at the time. He was like, I bet you won't. And it was like one of those things, like, I'll bet you I will. And I did it. You know what I'm saying? That changed my whole life. But not being the average and wanting to show the world something different, how could I just not have that happen to me?
Chris, you were about to say something. Go, Chris.
I had an experience. It just happened to be at any other point. If I'd have been in any other vehicle, it might have been a scary situation. But I pulled up to a stop sign, and the guy pulls a gun, tells me to get out of my car. It's a carjacking. I know he heard me from 3 blocks back trying to get up the hill to even where I was at.
Wow.
And I was sitting at this stop sign on this hill, and I said, "You trying to take this car? There's 100,000 cars drive down this road every day, and you want this one?" And I started laughing at him, and I hit the gas, and I'm still looking at him out the window. I ain't went anywhere. Takes this thing a minute speed, and I'm not joking. I said, "You could walk faster than this, dude. This was a joke." And I just drove away. The guy just looked at me. So that was a nice robbery attempt, just for the fact the guy wasn't violent, but he was very shocked that I said what I said, because I started laughing at him.
Well, y'all have debunked my whole "there's a nice robbery" theory. Thank y'all very much.
well, yeah. I mean, if people, if we, they say the Bible, it's just no. The Bible to me is all of our testimony, so it'll never end. So if we all give our stories, you just will never know what story will come about.
No, it's just funny, but it's cute though.
Yeah.
So I guess there can be a kind robbery. So I'm gonna have to rethink how to come up with that one.
It just depends on the person's point of the mind frame that they in at the time and where their heart is at. You know, some things can be aggressive, some things not.
So in today's topic of series, I wanted to do something, because we have something coming up with a television news series. And we've called it "Looking into the Faces of Poverty." And so the model that we're talking about, it is named false incarceration compensation. Okay? The second model is called condemned buildings tenants' rights compensation.
Mm-hmm.
And the third model was called illegal eviction compensation. Okay? So we're going to actually put this in an actual format, because we want to be like a panel like Mr. Mark Clements.
Mm-hmm.
But we want to do something a little bit different and come out with a little bit different information.
Mm-hmm.
So one of the things, I'm going to ask people certain questions. If we're talking about people who were falsely incarcerated, what would you look for them to qualify for that model?
To get help with their case or something?
If they were falsely incarcerated and they're looking for compensation, what would they need, what would they need to qualify for this model?
Evidence, I guess.
Okay, evidence. Anyone else got some guesses?
I'm sorry, I missed the question.
Say it again, Trish, and I'll repeat the question.
I didn't catch the question.
I'll repeat it. The question was, the model is called a false incarceration compensation. Who would qualify for that model?
Between July and September, only because I remember
someone that doesn't have the DNA coverage, like an older case.
Okay, so what was your answer?
The cold case DNA difference.
Trisha Martin, what are you trying to say back there, a little soft-spoken voice?
Actually, I'm not talking. I don't know who you're hearing. I'm listening. You called my name like twice. I'm like, I ain't said nothing.
Oh, my bad, boo.
I heard something as well.
Yeah. Maybe somebody just got an echo in their background, or we're picking up their voice that we can hear here, right? Because we definitely hear a woman, so I thought that was Trisha. Okay, so what about if the case was already dismissed? Would that qualify?
I think anything should be able to qualify. And do you guys know like the statistics of a polygraph?
He took a polygraph.
Okay, well, it shouldn't even go further than that. If they say that they so certain of what it is, it shouldn't even have to do. You shouldn't have to write nothing down, but just that one thing. Because if they feel that it's 99% or whatever it is, or 90%, whatever, however accurate it is, if man wants to create things to tell us this is what the outcome is, well, stick to what y'all say. So if a polygraph is something that can be able to tell if anybody lying or not, that should be the only thing that a person should have to do in a criminal case.
And good answer. Good answer. You're right.
Right.
Yep.
So are y'all speaking facts, or are
We
y'all just
speaking
speaking
facts.
No, not you. I'm talking like the government or whoever created it. Is it facts that it's 99%, or is it 1%? Is it 50%? Is it 75? They need to be able to make it 100% by now, because polygraphs been around for years. So it doesn't make sense. So they just, I just let that go. But
Steve Wilco's guy needs to do all of them, I guess.
Say again, Chris.
right, Steve Wilco. He said
Steve
Steve Wilco.
Wilco's guy
He
needs
right.
to do them.
Yeah, because Steve Wilco, he always come out right with it. So like he said, the government need to just hire him and just start doing them for everybody that's incarcerated.
Right.
Steve Wilkos does what again?
He do polygraphs when he had his show.
Polygrapher.
Like when it comes to his show, like if somebody cheating on their girlfriend or something, he figure it out. Like Jerry
Or
Springer
if
or
they
anybody.
molested somebody,
Yeah.
if they've done anything. If they've done anything, they ask the questions and they stand on the answers.
So I'm going to add on this list a dismissed case.
Mm-hmm.
So we have, and then, here's Mark. So Mr. Mark Clements.
Mm-hmm.
In this model of false incarceration compensation, we have identified, well, we've asked on the here, who would qualify.
Mm-hmm.
So we have evidence, a cold case with DNA, a polygraph, and a dismissed case.
And are you asking me would they qualify?
Would those be acceptable to qualify within a model for false incarceration compensation?
Of course. Yes. Yes.
Yes. So with that being said, now we are establishing at least an idea of what people would need to bring to us to want to fit this model. I'm going to put another suggestion up here. How about the cop has already been accused of wrongful behavior or conduct?
Mm-hmm.
Great model for wrongful conviction.
But honestly, I just feel like, there's so many cases out here. What do they do? What do your family do that's bad? What has anybody around you done so for them to look at these certain cases like so serious? I feel like they just want us to be down.
Well, nobody's looking at them. There's a small group of people. There's a small group of people, like the Innocence Project, for example, or they'll do like certain legal clinics, but it's very small people that are charged of all these people in prisons across the country. So in Missouri, we have the Midwest Innocent Project. I think there's like maybe 10 people in that office, I think. So let it sink in. 10 people is going to go over all these court cases of all these people who's been in prison. 10 people. How's that working out for us?
Not good at all.
Not good at all.
Girl, you need to start hitting that gravel good. Whatever that thing is.
Right. No, it would make Journey go crazy.
Oh, okay.
So it's not good at all. And so Mark Clements, because he had a praying mother who stayed out in the streets and she kept firmly and relentlessly believing in her son, she got the attention of the people to get him out. The problem is not everybody
What type
has.
of guys dying down now? Hey, I gotta get back at this thing here. I'll call you back later. Okay.
Right. Let them know.
You're off mute. So with Mark, he would tell you that he had a praying mother that brought him into the part of being able to get his freedom. Not everybody has that. And the part about having somebody relentless. If we look around now, most older women are not about, that we see in everyday society. Not saying there isn't. But most mothers I see is twerking in the clubs, in the bars. That circle of praying spiritual warriors has thinned out tremendously. They've died off.
I mean, they there, but I don't really see nothing wrong with it. It's just that people need to be able to, know the difference from play and seriousness.
And so once again, his mother was relentless to get him out of incarceration. Do you see any mothers out here that is so relentless that they're pulling their kids out of incarceration?
I would say a lot of them that I know.
Out of incarceration?
Even my mom, like, my whole family was willing to put up 401ks and all type of stuff to get me out, but I told them no. I just handled it myself.
No, we're talking about being in prison, sweetie, where you don't get
prison.
out.
I never was in prison.
Yeah,
yeah.
So I mean, we're being clear. This is about prison.
Oh, no,
so she got him out of 28 years of incarceration.
Oh, him right here?
Yes, we're not talking about jail. We talking about prison.
So she worked on that for years to get that result.
Yes.
Okay.
So do we have that?
No.
No.
They give up after like the first year or two or something.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're right. I see what you're saying.
So when we don't have that relentless spirit and attitude to bring about change, that's thinned out.
But it's also the people around the community and stuff. Like, why you wasting your money? Why you wasting your time? That's his fault. Like, stuff like that. If we all come together as a community and say we need this for everybody and we stick to it 100% all the time, he wouldn't have been in there for 28 years.
And that's true. So to be able to bring people together, because that's what our job is.
Yeah.
Because Missouri doesn't get paid. Other states get paid. Mm-hmm. So that's why it's called the false incarceration compensation model, because this is for Missouri. In any other state that would apply for this model, Illinois don't need it. They already getting paid.
Yeah.
Okay? So we need to be able to say, hey, you're fighting for the same thing we're fighting for. Well, we've narrowed it down to where we're willing to accept if it's faulty evidence. You know, whether it was a cold case with DNA, which this one, I will leave it on the list, but I'm not fooling with any type of sexual rape. I don't do those cases.
Yeah.
I do anything non-sexual, and there's another one I just won't do. I just won't do them.
And that's understandable.
So a polygraph, if the case was already dismissed and they're just waiting for their compensation. And then if a cop's background, it's already been proven that the cop did something in his background, his character was tainted. That should give people the opportunity to qualify to have their cases reviewed under this model.
Right.
All right? So what we've done is we could say now, hey, we got 5 steps, and it might be 6, it may be 10, but at least these 5 things make sense of how.
But 5 ain't enough.
So
because we need millions, so we need thousands and millions and billions of people to comment as well as we did, and they should add what they can add. But it's just us right now. But that's good that we came up with just that. That's enough for right now.
The millions, I'm finna say, because ain't nobody else sitting down here to make this model.
Oh, that's fine right now, but what I'm saying is hopefully from this Facebook that I'm doing, this podcast, everything that we doing, at least hopefully we get 10 more people, 5 more people or something to take this serious. And I just want to say it again, appreciate this, because I never even seen nothing like this before.
Exactly, and that's where I was going to say. I'm a nerd. People don't do this.
Yeah, at all.
Only few people sit here and do this.
At all.
At all.
People don't even like to research. Really, to be honest, the world is getting so technical with technology, they don't even know how to spell. They sitting up here writing abbreviations to stuff, and then when they go to college or go to school, they not even know how to spell a word. So
with that being said, so when you ask for people to do this type of work, not everybody is willing to do it. They don't even want to, but I want to.
Yeah.
Now, I could easily do reports and just shove them and kick them out into people like Mark Clements and say, hey, this is what I've written, this is what we're doing. That's not the point, and it won't get anywhere. Because you, as a person follow me, won't understand how I came up with what I've said.
Yeah, and it's good that you break things down. You actually asking questions to others and you answer them yourself. That's very good, because in psychology, when I went to school for business, they said you use I instead of you. So you actually putting yourself in a situation to expose yourself of your feelings of what you feel, instead of just looking forward to people speaking their words, you know?
Absolutely.
So you're actually giving your opinion as well, and that's great, because your voice should be heard, but you should not just be the only one that want to be heard.
I know how to put structure into things.
And that's good.
I'm disciplined. Not everybody's disciplined.
That's good.
Not everybody has been through what I've been through either.
Nah.
So with that being said, so this would be what I would call the seed. Mark.
I'm right here. So please forgive me. I'm still double taking.
You're good. So my question is, so with these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Evidence, cold case DNA, polygraph, dismissed case, cop behavior is criminal. Sorry, that did not come out right, but you know what I'm saying. Now, that will give an opportunity for people to at least qualify under a section under this model of false incarceration compensation.
Well, you don't, and let me stress, in all of these states where compensation is provided, and it's approximately 32 different states that provide compensation, realizing that Missouri does not. It's a process that they have, and you have to go in front of the chief judge, even once the state has dismissed, meaning whatever prosecutor has dismissed. You still have to go in front of the chief judge, and you have to come out of that with what's called a certificate of innocence. Once you gain that certificate of innocence, then you have to go to small claims court, and you have to litigate the fact that you were actually innocent and that you were declared actually innocent, and they will then rubber stamp that, which the state will then give you anywhere between $137,000 to $233,000 in compensation. That does not mean that's all the compensation that you receive. This entitles you to the right to be able to sue the city, the state, police departments, or any other governmental agencies that played a part with your wrongful conviction. And that's where the money comes in, because the sky is the limit. In Chicago, some guys have won as high as $25 million, while some have won less than $100,000. It depends on what judge is hearing that case.
I love the fact, see, he knows the steps.
Yeah, I see that.
See, he knows the steps. Now, we don't have a certificate of innocence here in Missouri. We get a dismissal.
Right.
But it's the same principle.
And not meaning to cut you off, but see, this is the thing. That's the problem. Dismissal means that the case is dismissed, but it lays no responsibility upon anyone. Matter of fact, the prosecutor can say, I'm dismissing because officer, whoever that person's name is, they lied or they planted evidence. Nothing can happen to that police officer unless there's a follow-up, and that follow-up generally comes with the person filing a complaint with whatever police agency, if it's the district attorney, with the district attorney, and that goes in as mitigation that basically supports the person that is moving forward with his claim of a lawsuit. Absent those types of materials, it's very difficult to be compensated by any jurisdiction. All of them fight you. All of them call you liars. All of them demonizes you through that process. Matter of fact, once you get through with that process, you are ready to submit yourself into a facility that treats people for post-traumatic stress or trauma, because that's what they do. They traumatize people.
Yeah.
You are so right. Now, one of the things that he mentioned that most people don't know, and this is what I've been trying to explain to people. Erica Brooks asked, does Chicago have a civilian review board, and is it effective if you do?
It is not effective. And it is only effective based upon the people that are appointed. If these are people that come from the city, the state, or come from any area of elected officials, most likely they're not going to have any transparency and viewing things the way that they ought to be reviewed. We have an accountability process here within our police department and most agencies, but they are often ineffective until people like myself is appointed to those boards. And then what you find out is that now you're being harassed by members of the Fraternal Order of Police, or you find yourself being harassed by prosecutors, and here it is, some charges is placed against you, and they magnify those charges. It could be accusations of stealing a candy bar out of a store, and you find out that you are on World News Tonight over a candy bar that you are accused of stealing out of a store. And that's what the system has done for many, many, many years. They demonize people.
With you knowing, and most people don't know, the first thing he said where you have to go is to the chief judge. Most people don't know that. They don't have a clue where to go. So not only are we given parameters of who would qualify to have their cases reviewed and overturned, but we're giving you the steps of who is responsible for the innocence of these people, who can literally overturn by the stroke of a pen, because that's another part. Most people don't know where to go or who to contact. So not only do people not know how to write this and put it in an organized format, most people don't even know where to go for the relief. So understand the ignorance on many, many levels.
Yeah, so, but a lot of time we just, like I said, like the entertainment and the way of the world, like we pay attention to the wrong things. Like we supposed to leave entertainment with entertainment. Housewives of Atlanta, all that different type of stuff, love and hip hop. It's just entertainment. And you're right, because when I had talked, like I was saying to whoever that was the chief of Houston or whatever, he said if I wanted to go to the White House, I have to get a certified letter or something from the governor, and I can come of my city and I can visit. So I didn't know that. So you have to do things to get there. You can't just go to the White House and fill out a form there. No, you have to go to the governor of your city, and you have to get documentation signed where you can be able to visit the White House. So certain things that you guys are hitting on is right. It's most definitely clear, and he 100% right. But people just need to educate themselves. It's like everybody want to smoke, everybody want to drink, everybody want to party, but you got all the time in your hand, right in your hand. Because I had to read a dictionary in elementary until I got to the end of it to learn words. I can actually go to Google now. So there's no reason why people are not educated nowadays. They just don't want to, and it's not as serious as important as it should be. So
absolutely. And so the education part, most people don't know. It's just that simple. So to get a court case overturned, most people don't know. After we figure out who would we accept for qualification for the cases to be reviewed, where would you take them?
Right.
See, most people don't know any of this.
Yeah.
So to hear people out here chanting and screaming about how they need police reform, they need this and they need that, baby, you don't even know the elements of what it takes to put a report together and where to go. So chanting in the streets, breaking windows does not help us, because that window cannot write our relief.
Yeah.
Does that make any sense? So what has happened is so much has been spired off. We don't even get to the point of commenting. You still don't know
But that's the reason why when we were slaves, they didn't want us to know how to read and write. So they know that we still behind in 2021.
But even after all the protesting, you still to this day, how many protests have went on after a court hearing was held and they decided not to convict the officers?
Yeah.
People still to this day have never said, go to the Chief Justice and file your complaint.
Yeah.
Nobody.
Yeah. But a lot of people think that money is power, but power is just power. It doesn't have to do with money. So they can do what they want to do unless we stand together as a world against what we want to talk about. If we don't do it together, it doesn't matter if 500 million of us do it. It doesn't matter. We have to do it all at once. If everybody in the United States of America wake up and, like, if Ron G. the realist say, don't go to work, nobody in America, and we need $50 minimum wage, it can happen if don't nobody go to work. But if one person just don't do it, it's not going to change nothing. We have to do it all at once and at one time. And I like the song that the guy had on the radio. I don't listen to rap, but it's bigger than black and white. He says bigger than black and white. And I understand what he's saying by that, because we have to do it together. And it's not going to change unless we do it as one. And
doing it together, I mean, people marched out there. I mean, people marched at the riots. People have been doing it together, but it's still with ignorant leadership. Yeah. If you're not going to give to the people what they need.
But they.
I mean, no buts.
Yeah.
I mean, period.
No, but
if I need a relief, if you need gas in your vehicle, and you walk up with an air pressure hose, you helped my tires, but you didn't give me what I needed. The car would have kept driving with low air pressure. You needed gas.
Yeah.
And that's where I'm getting into. A lot of people gave something, but it wasn't what was needed at the time. And so that's really a philosophy that is really rampant here, that we can't get anywhere, because people will give you what you didn't even ask for. They'll give you what they want you to have and not what you need.
Yeah, and but that was all planned. Like when Willie Lynch created 1,000 years of slavery, it'll last for 1,000 years, and he wrote a document that man should go, the white man or supremacists or whoever can go off of. He meant what he said, and it still exists until today. They wanted us to riot like that. Everything that we doing, they laughing at us. They laughing at all them people in the street. They laughing because it wasn't all of us. Let every city step out and do it.
They did.
I bet. No, I'm talking about every city in numbers, like they was doing it in Minneapolis. Let every city in the United States of America do it at one time. I bet they won't laugh then, because they're not gonna go in the house. They're not going. National Guard cannot flood the United States of America, so they shut it down real quick in each state. But if everybody, like I said, do it at once, every city in the United States just step out, and they not riot, but just whatever, and they get out there, it's nothing that they can do, and I bet you their smile will turn into a frown, because they're going to be pissed. And that's why they have nuclear bombs. That's why they have nuclear bombs, to blow us up. When that ever happen, they're gonna bomb our own country.
So once again, we're talking about people who are incarcerated,
right?
Who are falsely accused. And so we are giving out a model of how people could qualify for that relief. We are given the direction of where people can go to get the relief.
Right.
So out in the streets is not it. The Chief Justice, though, of St. Louis County Courthouse could give you relief. Right. The Chief Justice in St. Louis City Court can give you relief by the stroke of a pen.
Right.
So these people who can actually do something for us is not even being mentioned. So whether you got all these people marching in the streets or not, the information that will actually help us is being omitted.
Yeah.
So the idea of this is we have a lot of organizations and people are watching and listening. And so I want to move on to the next model of condemned buildings and tenants' rights. What would that person, if you lived in a condemned building, what would you need to bring to qualify?
In a condemned building?
In a condemned building. How would you prove that it was a condemned?
Shouldn't need anything if it's condemned.
How would you prove it's condemned?
Inspection.
What else? How could you prove it's condemned? How else?
Just the way it looked.
So
just
pictures,
from the outside, the pictures.
Videos.
Yeah. It's a lot of ways. Running water, utilities running, lights, gas. I mean.
So reports.
Yeah.
All right. So that's not too hard at all, actually.
No,
it's really not.
Yeah.
It's really not. To find out if somebody is deserved compensation as a tenant if they lived in a condemned building. It's really not hard.
No.
It's not.
Yeah.
So an inspection, bingo. Have somebody come out and walk through it and confirm what the tenant has said.
They can do it for Section 8, but they can't do it for somebody that's not on Section 8.
Well, they can do it for tenants in the city of St. Louis and the county, but if you live in like Riverview, for example, tenants don't get inspections. If you live in like Jennings, tenants can't ask for inspections. Do the properties get inspected? Yes, by the landlord and owner. After you move in as a tenant and you call them in Jennings or Riverview and say, hey, my roof is leaking, I need you to come back and re-inspect so I can have something in case my landlord takes me to court, they're going to say, no, we can't inspect. We can only inspect by your landlord. We can't inspect by the tenant. That's a problem.
And I don't really know too much about politics and like all this stuff, but why is it that it's so many different laws in different places? Why don't they just have the same laws everywhere?
All right, now that goes back to Mark, because that's what he was talking about, the law. So once again, that will go back to the Chief Justice and our legislators.
Oh, okay.
Because they have involvement in that. So now you understand when he talks about layers and layers. So now we're just having this just general basic conversation. Now you understand how it keeps tying back into the same people.
That's weird.
No, it's a pattern of poverty.
Yeah.
And if you don't understand how it all relates in a casual conversation, we ain't gonna get it.
Yeah.
And
I get it though.
Yeah, that's the key.
Yeah.
It all relates back to who you would go to for your relief.
And they're not even doing what they job.
Most people don't even know these are the people that you go to.
Yeah.
See, then that's what I'm saying about that problem. If you don't know where you go, how do you get any relief? And so you can have 1 million people marching in the street, but nobody still ain't told y'all to go to the Chief Justice and take these court cases and have them reviewed. So if we went to these Chief Justices, because they're actually people, and you say, hey, Chief Justice, look at this, and you got paragraph this, and you got the case number here, and you can show something, you might get their attention.
Okay.
You might get their attention. So if everybody who had a case.
So would you have to do that like say for instance, we was to try to start it here in St. Louis.
We are.
We would have to, right. But we would have to like get like people signatures or something?
So that's a petition. So what we're talking about is how people will qualify to have their cases reviewed. Just like how Mark and them put that panel together. Okay? So it's all a comparison of what they're already doing. Illinois is light years ahead of Missouri.
Wow.
Light years ahead. So we have a person that can put a panel together and actually sits on the panel. You and I here are not on his level there.
Yeah, but ain't Missouri the last state to free the slaves?
We're always last.
Yeah. So,
one of the things that we have in our favor here, these court cases have already been collected. Most people in different states are looking for how to help their people.
So we got the information, it's just not right. Okay.
So it's our job, and as a nerd and host over here, to be able to get this information out to y'all, so you can turn around and help someone else.
Yeah, girl, you're going to have to send me some information. I want to read up on this stuff.
So, and we're doing it right now, because this is the overview of it. I mean, real quick and easy. I'm going to write up a report.
Yeah.
And so this court case that we talked about doing today at 7:00 p.m. would tie into it being dismissed. So it would be a qualifier for this automatically. It's already been dismissed.
Right.
So with this case, we just move it to the people who's responsible for getting our relief.
Right.
Correct?
Right.
Okay. So if people don't know who that is, though, now we got a problem.
Yeah. Big problem.
We got a big problem.
Yeah. Because the next person wouldn't be able to get that same assistance and that help because they don't know. But it could be like one person that this person get help and be fine, and then it's like 100,000 people or 10,000 people or something that don't.
Everybody needs to learn. So imagine how easy it is if we say, hey, y'all, we're taking these five sections qualify under the model of false incarceration.
Yeah.
So you would have to bring us this.
Yeah.
And it would have to fall under this. And then we say, hey, for the dismissed case, we have a model. And I say, read this victim impact statement and see if that makes sense to you. And then I would show them that the case was already literally dismissed.
Yeah.
So with it being said, we have a case that's already ripe for compensation.
Yeah.
So we're ready.
Yeah.
Now, the question is, where do we go? Who do we demand?
So the people that you have helped over time, do they give this information to like their family, friends, their social media and stuff like that to be able to let them know what you did for them so it can help the next person?
Yes. Okay. That's what this whole conversation is about. Because the goal is for everybody to have a court case.
That's good.
And we create a panel. And since Mark has such depth in the panels and what needs to take place, obviously, if we have him give us some direction or insight like he's doing right now, it would make sense for him to be the lead. It would make sense for us to go, hey, Mark, is this how we should set this up?
Well, I'm all board.
And so with Mark having the access to all these people, they emails, they phone calls to him.
Yeah.
So if he believes that what we're doing, he got access to the people, well then gee, we might actually get somewhere now. But it's going to take all of us understanding that a false incarceration, a dismissed case, will qualify for a model of compensation. It's just that easy. Now, if you screaming and hollering, he was blue in the face and yellow and, you know, all that's irrelevant. What's relevant is his case was dismissed. That's what people need to know. So if you don't know that, you can't help and you can't go any further. So what I have to do is boil people's thoughts and comments down to where it fits a pattern so we can move forward. Because if people tell the story in a different way, whatever they said, it's not going to get to the end result because it's different. But if you stay on this path of these 5 things of evidence, cold case, polygraph, dismissed case, or a cop's behavior, which is criminal, now that falls into what we just said of how they will qualify for the incarceration model. Does this make sense?
I just got a lot of education just sitting there for this little time.
In an hour and 12 minutes. And this ain't even been a whole hour and 12 minutes. And that's what I'm saying. Once you get somebody who knows what they're doing, it can be boiled down simple and easy and quick. This is not rocket science. People need to understand what they're saying.
But it's good that y'all got that man thought that they was gonna trick us up with this technology stuff to use, but they made the biggest mistake, because it doesn't matter how many followers or viewers you got right now, as long as you have one person and that when they go to sleep at night, if they really believe in God and whatever information that you gave them and what helped them, millions of people will be able to get it, because God will make sure that he places it onto them for that knowledge. So don't ever think that these views from Facebook and all that don't mean anything.
Well, it does, because the audience is coming in. This is how our voices get carried out.
Yeah, but what I'm saying, it means a lot, but it's past this when it comes to knowledge being transferred. So
I mean, that is a part of a path, but the numbers of our videos, you have to have people be able to listen to them, to be able to hear, to be able to go to the next steps. Like, I get what you're saying, but I'm talking in the realistic step by step by step. So I'm here in front of a microphone. He's there in front of a microphone, because we have to have a way to get our voices out with our information. So it does matter who listens, who watches, because that determines how far our information goes.
And I'm gonna make sure when I because I only have certain videos that I repost, and I'm gonna make sure I repost this video. It's very educational. Like, I just didn't even know I can learn this much in just this little bit of time. I just feel like I'm overwhelmed with information. I can like go tell somebody this after the show. And
we want people to be simple about it, because the more complex you make it, you're opening the door for these people to run them away or to argue with you. That's what. So my other goal is teaching people how to articulate this without getting this blowback of argument, because many people like to argue. They not here to help. So with Mr. Clements, he was doing a live broadcast, and he mentioned smoking a cigarette. And I'd be damned, instead of focusing on his 28 years and the trauma and everything he said, the comments were, no smokes. Are you serious?
Talking about him smoking a cigarette?
Yes.
On why he talking to us?
Why
does that even matter?
And that's what they
I wish I could smoke a cigarette right now.
And so my point is, you'll be amazed at the pettiness of people's minds. And it wasn't one comment, it was multiple comments. Out of all of what he said, that's what they claim. No, don't smoke, Mark. Get the patch. This man been in for 28 years. You lucky he ain't scratching his head upside down. He ain't licking paint off the wall. He ain't crazy.
Yeah, but why is that even important with what he do? That's a grown man.
So the point is, that's how petty people are again. So you have to understand, people are petty. You are spilling something and giving truth and knowledge. Meanwhile, somebody's tripping off the color shoes you got on. If you smoking a cigarette, did you curl your hair today? All of it is irrelevant.
Yes, about the image though. That's what they look at.
No, this is just life in society of why we
Yeah.
can't get anywhere.
Yeah.
So the real thing boils down to is making sure that the people who are here that want to speak and be a part, because this is blowing up real fast and real quick.
Yeah.
And so as I'm putting this together, I have to find people who are willing to stay on task when these cameras and these people come here or we zoom into them. Because
Right.
it don't work if I have a panel of people. Let's say Mark gets a panel of people and he says, hey, this lady in Raleigh, she has a good show. They're going to go through these court cases. I want you to come on and be a part of the panel. And they come on. And let's say everybody here has a job to do about a court case. If you can't stay on task and simply say, you know, this incarceration model, this guy would qualify because his case was dismissed and he's ripe for compensation. Boom. People want to go off the, I don't know why they did this, why I was arrested. That ain't got nothing to do with what we talking about right now.
Right.
I need you to stay
On topic.
focused. And we talking about this guy right here, not you.
And I hate looking at that page because I got a couple of them at home. But
We all do.
Yeah.
And when you're going through something, when you are locked up, you don't want somebody tripping off your shoes or talking about somebody else. You supposed to be the only focus.
yeah.
So those are the two big things that I see. Number one, most people want to talk about
So
themselves.
is that the actual?
This is the
Can I
actual.
see it?
Now, if I went on CaseNet real quick, and so I'm going to go on CaseNet just to make a point that this young man won his case. If you go on CaseNet, though, you're going to have a very, very hard time finding it.
Oh, he was released from custody.
He was released from custody.
Oh, okay.
So I'm going to pull this up. I mean, the case was dismissed.
There you go.
So I'm going to go on CaseNet to make a point. So this is where people say, oh, I can do what she do. Really? So you go out and you actually collect people's court cases. You actually go out and you talk to people. So you say, okay, well, we're going to just take her case and we're going to do it. We don't need her. That's fine. Guess what? You ain't going to find this case. So I'm going to type it in just to make a point. If we do win in court, when they dog us out and abuse their privilege or the law or whatever, you can't find the case anymore because they will remove it.
Oh, and you saying it should stay where it can be seen?
If you can keep me on there and dog me out when I lose, how come you can't keep me on there when I win?
When you win, right. That's sad.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's messed up.
So when you have something like that, you know, that's just not a good feel.
Yeah.
So you should be able to keep up your wins to where people can look you up. But it's not like that in Missouri. They want to make sure that you can't be found. So he can't be found. This isn't his court case.
Wow.
Oh, I put in the wrong one. See how it won't come up?
Yeah.
Now if I go and put in the wrong number, it'll come, something will come up. So these are, I'm see how it come up?
Wow.
So his case has been removed off of CaseNet. You can't pull it up anymore. They took it off. So don't tell me people don't know how they cheat.
Yeah.
So you can never look this case up again through public view.
That's sad.
So this is why people don't know about victories, because they take them down if we win.
Yeah. I didn't know that.
Mark, is your case still public record after you've been exonerated? Well, yeah. Let me see.
I don't think he can hear you.
He's on the other one. So with him, because he's been written about and his went national, you can always look him up. But somebody who didn't get national attention, somebody who didn't get the media, their cases just disappear. So with that being said, not only did he go and be incarcerated, his mother lost her housing as a result of the arrest. So by the time she went to recertify her Section 8 in HUD, the case hadn't been dismissed. She was still going through it. So what do you tell the HUD people about your son having a criminal infraction?
So what, he was like on her HUD case?
He was on her HUD.
So why did they cut her off? Because he wasn't on it no more.
Because he got the arrest, and when they pulled CaseNet, it came up on the
oh, so she was like, okay. So with that being her son, they saying that you affiliated with somebody like this, we cutting you off.
Got cut off.
Wow.
So imagine imagine. So when we talk about people being homeless, for example, so this is how a false incarceration or a false charge could literally result in somebody being homeless.
Wow.
That had nothing to do
with the case,
with a situation.
Wow.
So that's why I have a huge heart, now, even before this case, but beyond this case, when I look into the faces of poverty.
Yeah.
Of how did they get there? Could they be a model like this? If somebody go run up to me and say, hey, my child was caught up on something, and because they live with me, I lost my Section 8.
Yeah.
Let that sink in.
Yeah.
So this mother, and she got very little Section 8 income coming in. So no, she can't afford market rate rent.
Right.
So Section 8 doesn't have too many policies to reinstate people once they lost their HUD. See, that's the problem.
Yeah.
So now you've taken a false incarceration, and now it's grown from a seed to a branch.
And then when he was able to get off the case, she wasn't able to do anything about that, like be able to do anything legally towards them for doing that?
No, because they followed protocol.
Wow.
So she lost her Section 8.
Wow. And she should have been able to like sue them for that. That's my son. What do they got to do?
The lawyer who actually handled the case, I sat down with him. I've met the lawyer. I met the family. The lawyer is actually a civil rights attorney, but he didn't file for him.
Wow.
For his false incarceration. So it goes back to my topic of how only so many people, a very, very teeny, weeny percentage, actually be free, like Mark Clements.
Wow.
And he talks about that, how he's only the very few that actually got out. So if you didn't get media attention, who's going to know about you?
Yeah.
How you going to get anywhere?
Yeah.
And how many people walking up and down the streets normally get media attention like this? Let it all sink in. And you wonder why people are so angry in the inner cities of St. Louis.
Yeah.
Many people have situations like this that they did not cause.
Yeah.
So another thing we talked about that would get a case disqualified, the cops' behavior. So if we go up here, and if a cop's behavior will get a person's case reopened, that means you got to know your cop's name.
Yeah.
So how many people know their cops' names?
Yeah.
How hard is it to go back to find out the cop's name?
Yeah.
It's not hard. You go back and you pull the report, and you can find it out. The problem is most people don't know his name. So this is my cop, James Shrimpshire, who is now vice president of the Washington Fraternal Order of Police, a diverse statewide organization of 3,000 members. He is the police chief of the city of Algona. Let me go back, though. So you know James Shrimpshire is a police chief now. But did you know that he got caught planting drugs on people? And I'm not seeing that come up as quickly. Now, it used to be he would come up very quickly for planting drugs on people.
And he has that position after doing.
You see, I'm still on it. Now, here he is in 2008. James Shrimpshire was fired December 14th. So in 2008, I'm showing you, 2 men of King County got fired. And he has a very unique name. So you don't, I mean, his name is so unique. This ain't like just Mark Pratt, where you could be like, oh, it could be many people. Look, Deputy James Shrimpsher was fired. They were fired for playing drugs on people. It was being set up. The deputies learned he was a drug dealer, felony warrant.
He was a drug dealer.
That's what they always call us.
Whoa. Oh, you talk the person.
The person. We always got to have drugs. We always this person.
I thought the officer was a drug dealer.
I got another case on that one. Wow. That's another case. Okay, that's another case.
Whoa.
So we have to where Shrimpsher's firing prompted King County prosecutors to dismiss at least one case. So they know he was a dirty cop. They only dismissed one case. So this is what I mean about when you follow these models. I'm going to take you on a journey, baby, but I can't do nothing if you don't get on the model. So I'm showing you, this is my model that would be about the cop with a criminal history. Okay? So that was supposed to be the end of his troubled career. And what is he now? What was the first article I went on? He is vice president of the Washington Fraternal Order of Police.
Yeah.
And y'all, so right here is your model.
Yeah.
When y'all talk about how these people treat you, or the union for the police departments, now you know why they got that staunch, raunchy ass stance. Because they were a cop, they used to beat us too.
Yeah.
You get it?
Yeah.
So if everybody would go back and just simply start looking people up, you might run across these type of articles.
Yeah.
So now, you see it's all here in public view, but he is the police chief, and this is the first thing that came up. Because they just nominated him January 13th.
2021. Wow, this month.
This month. And I've been hollering about this man for a minute. This ain't the first show that I've talked about. So they've elevated him even more.
Yeah.
To the vice president of the Washington Fraternal Order of Police. Now people will say, well, maybe he's changed. What's that got to do with him beating us and putting drugs on us when he was a cop?
Oh, so he beat somebody and put drugs?
Oh, he used to beat the mess out of us.
Whoa.
So what happens to all those people who still got those stories? Wouldn't they qualify to come in this review, whether you in Missouri or Washington? But this would be the guy that you would go to file your complaint.
Oh, okay, I see what you're saying.
This would be the guy that would...
those people that was in the corner.
This would be the guy that would protect the police officers against the complaint of the physical abuse.
Okay, I get it.
You understand? I'm trying, as I always...
Yeah, I get it.
It's going to always wrap around.
Yeah, I get that. So, oh, well.
So you wonder why when y'all talk about the police unions and how they stick by all these cops, I'm showing you right here through this model. Because normally, look them up.
So basically, what's the... Yeah, so what those people just need to be removed for anything to be able to happen, because he's not going to help us at all.
He's not going to help us at all. But if you don't Google, if you don't even know where to begin, you ain't going to know about his past. That was on the 3rd page.
So what if the president can be impeached, what could we do as people to remove this person, to get somebody in there to help?
I'm going to bring in Mark real quick. Mark. Mr. Clements. He still got us on mute. Mr. Clements. Mr. Clements. He still got us on mute. We're going to have to do some signs or something to where he'll know too, because he's doing 2 things to come on and off. So now that you've read that, I wanted to see if he got any glimpse of that, because I know he's doing 2 things at once. Mark.
Yes.
Ha! Got him that time. I just went through a police officer in Washington that used to be in Missouri, and how he's now the police chief and the vice president of the Fraternal Order of Police in Washington State. Did you catch any of that when we went through it?
Well, the problem is my internet, I don't know if it's mine or what, but it's dragging like, and I can see you, and I can see Mrs. Martin picture up, but like when you talk, it breaks up, and I don't know if I'm breaking up or what.
Nope, you are doing fine. You are actually doing mighty fine, mighty fine. So one of the things I wanted to bring up is we have a police chief in Washington State that I think everybody will be captivated as far as a model. That police chief was caught in Washington State, and he was known here in Missouri to plant drugs and to beat us. He is now the vice president of the Washington Fraternal Order of Police.
It didn't allow me to hear as clearly, but I heard you say something about the Fraternal Order of Police, and I think I can kind of like put together what you are bringing to my attention. The Fraternal Order of Police is a union that basically police officers, and the Fraternal Order of Police has acted all across this nation like thugs in the middle of the night that have terrorized people, and as a collective, regardless of what color you are, those people oppose you, and when they oppose you, they generally oppose you through violence, through some form of retaliatory behavior, and I have been opposed by the FOP. I've been retaliated by the FOP. I've had those chains put on me again by the FOP retaliating against me. The charges didn't stick, but the bottom line of it is they look at it, if they could just inconvenient you for a minute, then it sets you back. And as we talk about wrongful convictions is something that the process has been stretched. And just because a person gets out of prison, they are not necessarily entitled to compensation. And I think that's wrong. I think that hinders people from compensation much as a year once they have been released, or even longer in some instances. And they put value on this piece of paper of certificate of innocence, opposed to the judge now acknowledging after so many years or decades that you are declared innocent, and that, hey, guess what? You're going to need some help coming out of these jails and prisons. You're going to need some direction when you come out of these jails and prisons. You're going to need some healing that everyone, at least a lot of people, I'm not going to say everyone, but a lot of people don't speak of the trauma that people are left with when they leave these prisons. And it's so traumatizing, man, it can cause you to do some of everything that you normally would never, ever do. That's what trauma does. And we are a society that is covered in trauma. And that trauma is both ways, meaning it's in society as well as behind those prison walls. And that's all we see out here in this society is trauma clashing up against trauma. And I am more so willing to work with St. Louis and the drafting of some type of legislation for compensation, as well as working with them to try to get a center that would treat individuals that come out of their prison systems declared wrongfully convicted, so that they can start to at least be on the right road of some treatment. Absent that treatment, ain't no telling what you would do. And a lot of people don't look at this as being true, but it is. Let you go through a breakup in a relationship. Let you go through a marriage, and it didn't end it. You're going to find out that trauma causes you to be Jack the Ripper. So I'm just keeping it real.
I typed in a name of a cop that I had went through. If you type in in the comment section, James T. Shrimpshire, you'll find out that he is the vice president of the Fraternal Order of Police in Washington State. You can pull up an article from 2008, I believe, where he was caught planting drugs on people when he was a King County sheriff. So the goal is, in the first model, just to get people to start looking people up across the country. Who are your leaders? And if everybody would take, 20 minutes to look up these people's names, you might find out that they came from another state and might have been involved in criminal activity.
Yeah. And honestly, I don't get into none of this type of stuff. I don't even. So I'm glad that I'm educating you guys are educating me on this, because I don't look into politics. I just look at it as so much full of crap. But it's good to educate yourself to know that you can make change, because before I just came here today, I just didn't think it was just even possible. It's just like I didn't really care.
You didn't know the steps. You didn't know the steps.
Yeah, now I do, and I will start when I start seeing little stuff with. I don't even know who the mayor of not the mayor. Yeah, the mayor of Ferguson is the new lady that's the mayor. I don't even know her name. I don't really be caring about that stuff. But my neighbors was like, "Oh, we want you to link up with them for HIV prevention." And I'm like, I don't know. And I still haven't looked her up.
And most people have your attitude. Most people don't care about politics.
Yeah.
They don't know. If I can go in the city of St. Louis, everybody's screaming and hollering about houses. They screaming and hollering about how they being dogged out. I ask them one simple question. Who's your alderman? Who's your state rep? Who's this? Nobody could give any answer.
Know either.
If I ask, who's your cop? I've been down into the marches of everybody screaming and hollering. The cops did this. The cop did that. What cop? Nobody could give a cop's name. And so that falls on us.
Yeah, I'm one of those people.
And many, you ain't the only one, many. So imagine what all that cackling is like, having people calling, screaming, hollering, yelling. I mean, it's cackling in my ear. Because when I asked them one question, what was their name? Nobody could give me an answer. How do you expect to get some relief? How do you expect somebody to be held accountable? You don't even know who did this to you.
Yeah.
So right there, that's where I'm ready to start, being able to slim down a lot of complaints. Because if you're not willing to go get your cop's name, how am I supposed to help you?
Take you serious, yeah.
And how are you screaming and hollering with such anger, and you don't even know a name to be angry at? Yeah. So let that sink in as far as a community of people. So many people are angry, and I believe that something did happen, but you don't know who to focus your anger towards because you don't know who did it.
Yeah.
So right there's a healing. If people would simply, if you that aggrieved, go back and get your court case if you want help. Because can't nobody do nothing with cackling.
Yeah.
Can't nobody do nothing with broke windows.
Yeah.
We can do something if you go get your court case, though, if you that aggrieved.
And it's good that you want to educate people, because I looked at it just like them. I just didn't care. I just didn't. I don't even watch the news for real. I don't.
If I can get the right people, and I think I got enough, but to settle down on one level, y'all will be surprised at how fast you can move through a court case.
Yeah.
If everybody understood they lane. So the first thing, go through the 5 steps. Does it qualify under the models? Second step, after you read whatever you got to read, is it legit? Third step, where do you go for the relief? Because you're going to find out, through this conversation, it's the same people over and over and over again. But if you don't know who they are, they don't have to do anything. And that's the fault of these communities.
Yeah. And we have to place ourselves at fault, even me myself, because I didn't really take it serious like that. I just felt like this is just gonna be what it is, and this is how we gotta just accept it.
Now here's another thought. What if the people that got you out there marching, who actually organized the marches, work in these organizations you're supposed to actually go to get the relief? So see the spin?
Yeah.
So let's say I'm in Civil Rights Division, for example, and I'm the one you go to make your complaint, but instead I got you marching out in the street. And you giving me high fives and liking my posts. And you don't even comprehend. I'm literally the one that's supposed to write your relief. So that's what I see. So many people, and I'm just looking at them like, y'all kick it with the people that literally is in a position to help you, and y'all don't even, it's like they don't acknowledge that that person can give you what you ask for. They cool with a like. I mean, they absolutely cool with a like. And so with that being said, how do we get anywhere if our mentalities is so petty for a like?
Yeah.
So we have, like you said, a black mayor in Ferguson. Wasn't that supposed to be historical to have a...
Yeah, supposedly.
Why'd you look like that? Why'd you say that?
Because I don't really care for politics, period. I just don't.
Because that's how we always got. We got a black person doing this. Yeah. We got a black person doing that. We got a black person doing this. Okay. We got a lot of black people working in a lot of different places, and we still impoverished.
Yeah.
But that's this narrative that goes to us every election. We got a new black person. We got a new this. And people seem to accept that, and everything goes away.
They turn green after a while.
They do turn green because they're gross and they're icky.
No, because it turns into money.
Yeah, it's always about the money.
Money knows no skin color.
Money knows no skin color. That's Mr. Justin Kiki chiming in back there. But if I'm supposed to go to my alderman, for example, if I'm supposed to go to the police union, if I'm supposed to go to my police chief and file a complaint about what happened to me, if you don't know that this police chief beat us 30 years ago, why would you expect him to help? But your hopes is up that he will help you because you filed a complaint.
Yeah.
You see what I mean?
Yeah.
So without people going and doing research of who these people are, how can we ever get any relief?
Yeah.
Explain that to me.
Yeah.
So looking into the faces of poverty is something that really boils down how to address, how to acknowledge who are these people that we say we want to help. What court cases would we be willing to go over and say, hey, Mark, hey, committee, these are the court cases that we're willing to say we stand by for relief.
So is it organizations that you know of that do the same things that you do, like with this information?
I know organizations who do something. They don't do as I do.
Oh, okay.
And that's why I'm here, because I actually care enough to go out and to collect the actual court cases. I care enough to go into people's houses and actually do inspections, to actually go to court with them, to actually write their defenses, go to court, file them. I instruct them how to argue because I'm not an attorney.
You put the footwork in yourself.
I do all of it.
Yeah.
Versus other tenants organizations told tenants to have a rent strike.
A rent strike?
A rent strike, and to cancel rent. Did they cancel rent?
How that's going to help them when they just going to make them upset?
It didn't help them, and that's why so many people got kicked out. So, no, they don't do as I do. Most people, if you ask them, how many days does a tenant have to move out? They don't know.
But you got a really good spirit with this type of stuff, because you don't make me irritated, but just speaking on these type of people, it just disgusts me. And it's bothering my spirit, but I get from you a positive vibe from it. But like these people that we speaking on, like this government stuff, I don't really care for them like that, and I didn't at the beginning, but like now I will educate myself, like read up on things. Like I pass up so many documents, pass up news, like watching news and stuff on different things. But like now, you know what I'm saying? Because I always said I wanted to be the president by the time I'm 40, but yeah, I wanted to go to school for politics, but I can just educate myself. I don't need to do that. And I see that with you creating this platform, you give us hope that we can learn these things. You give us hope that we can educate ourselves further, and it's not the end. Like I just felt like it was the end, and I got to be this president at 40, and that's what I felt. But like I don't feel like I got to do that now. I feel like no, I can educate myself to educate people.
My job is to make sure that when we go through these court cases, I want y'all to feel, first of all, this is y'all everyday experience. This isn't out of some book that's made up.
Yeah, and you literally like pulled up documentation of everything that you saying, proving facts. And if you don't educate yourself, you can't prove facts and back what you say. You literally did that this whole time, the whole time.
Everything I do comes
Yeah.
out of a document, a court case, something. I don't make any of it up.
Yeah.
So imagine what it's like for me to have people talk and have nothing.
Yeah. That's
Nothing
sad.
to reference, no court case, no documents, but they spewing all of this stuff.
Yeah.
And
Kind of
everybody,
like when me and you was talking and I was telling you about the record deal stuff, and I'm saying all these different things, but I ain't even go over the you said the contract before I talk to you about it. I should have said, hold on, let me go over this contract one more time, and I'm gonna call you back. You get what I'm saying? So I'm a victim of all of what you're saying. So I have to better myself on this type of stuff to be able to feel better after leaving here today, because I just didn't look at it like that.
at least you have a contract to actually go and refer to.
Yeah.
You know, and I have to be very careful because my phone blows up.
Yeah.
People do listen. Whether you don't see it on the numbers or they're not on the screen, people are watching. People are
Yeah, I
paying
get that
attention.
too, yeah.
That's how I'm able to be able to pick up people like Mr. Mark Clements and other folks out there, because they are watching and
That's
they do
good.
know that I do this as documents. I didn't make this up. You know,
That's
I
good.
did my footwork. I did my research, and my job is to take the information and transfer
That's
it.
good.
And so to give people an actual basis, and I always talk about a seed.
Yeah, you so serious with it, like even like politicians and stuff, they're not even as serious as you are with this. Like I didn't see like Obama, he not even as serious as you are for the whole United States of America. I can see it in your eyes, and I never seen in his eyes through that screen the seriousness in your eyes.
I'm
And
very
and he
serious.
was fighting. He's supposed to be fighting for all of us. That's why I don't believe them, and that's why I said to myself, I'll get to their spot one day, but I want to live my life first. I don't want to be around these people and have attitudes and say crazy stuff to them, because that's what happened. But you have a certain gift, and whatever your plan is and your mission, it's already done. It's written in stone, but they have to understand
They have
that
to
you're
understand.
not trying to force nothing on them. You're not trying to force knowledge. You're just trying to give back of what you know to be able to just help the next person. Like, if you do this too, I don't got to do as much. Like, that's what you're trying to show the world. Like, I can, like, come on here once a week, like you see a pastor at church on Sunday, and then y'all can just spread the knowledge, because word of mouth is the best way to promote anything. So, yeah.
And there's people out there that need relief. I got people out there facing evictions. I got people out there that can't qualify for loans. They can't qualify for housing. I got people out there who is homeless. I'm homeless. I live
Yeah.
with somebody because my house was taken.
Yeah.
So this is a real life platform for me. That's not a joke. No, I'm not here to be cute.
Yeah.
I'm here to give the education and experience of what people need to be able to move forward in
Yeah.
life.
That's good.
And so across the board, my job is to be able to say this, and whether you're talking about a housing complaint, whether you're talking about a criminal complaint, whether you're talking about somebody, you know, screwed you out of a car deal, to be able to take it in principle
Yeah.
and walk it out. What is your legal argument? How did it happen? What happened?
And people don't understand you know how they say, like, when a person puts so many hours into something, they don't understand the hours you put in for this, because I can just imagine how much reading that you literally do.
Each person to
And I can
go.
just imagine not only reading, people learn in different ways by visuals. I can just imagine how many documentaries you hadn't read, watch. This is very serious to me, and I just feel like I don't want to get emotional right now, but I just feel like we got hope.
We do, because we're looking into the faces of poverty. And so it could be a face of a false incarceration. It could be a face of a tenant who sunk all this money into a condemned building. It could be the face of a person homeless because they were illegally evicted.
Yeah.
You know, so a lot of times when you look into that face, you're looking into a face that represents many, many people out there that went through that actual avenue to get where they're at, to be impoverished.
Yeah.
I don't deal with the people that actually created their own mess. That's not what I'm here for. I'm here for people that's in a mess, like Mr. Clements, incarcerated, and you don't have to be behind the jails. You could be incarcerated and be free.
Yeah.
Those are the people that catch my eye, the people that are going through something that did not initiate or did not cause what they're going through. So you're a tenant. You come into a building. It looks good. The ceiling looks good.
Yeah.
Hard rain comes though. Now it's leaking all into the electrical system. It's ruining everything. That ain't your fault
But
as a
the
tenant.
reason why your gift is so powerful is because I was telling people like DMX when he get on the stage and he crying to everybody about what he want them to understand. You only giving them music though. People learn in 5, 6 different ways. You have visuals. So if he was crying on stage with music, that's one. If he did it in a documentary, that's two. It's a visual. You have to give people different ways of learning, and if you don't give every way of learning when you reach out to people for them to acknowledge and understand, what about the people that's deaf? What about the people that can't see? What about the people that have to put their fingers across something just to be able to get? If you don't go out and how could you change the world just taking one step because you think you're a rapper and you think that this crying gonna help you? That's why they addicted to drugs, and that's why they pressing something that can't be pressed because you're not doing enough. They not doing every outlet of what to do. You just did everything that I can think of to educate somebody. You showing me on the screen. You showed me on the paperwork when I first met you. You speaking it to existence. All of those things really count. A person can hear you on the radio without seeing you. A person can be able to see you and read your lips if they cannot hear. So you just hit all of those points of what I was trying to explain to somebody one day. So your impact on the world is going to be greater than that person that's just on the stage crying, because they probably like, okay, we heard this Sunday at church, we want to hear this music. So you have to go beyond what you do, and you going beyond what you do and even beyond that to get it accomplished, because you know in your mind, okay, I just said this to this person, they ain't get it this way, but let me put this on live. Let me have a video for this. You doing that. You don't have to record yourself right now at this radio station. You could just be talking like we heard the Breakfast Club. And then we go see them on YouTube if we feel like it.
Well, and then this is where we take the actual court cases and we turn them into skits.
Yeah.
And so if the weather is not permitting, we will postpone, because my equipment cannot be out in the rain for this evening. But the goal of it is we take this court case and we actually act it out so people can see it off the paper and see it being performed. To see this man being robbed from the back and says he's seen the people who robbed him. I really want to title this one, I Fit the Description. Because so many black men, and it talks about it when you read it, how he fit the description. And that's really, when you read it, it's so vague, there was no way he could ever identify anyone.
Yeah.
But that young man went to jail.
Yeah.
And so that is the epitome of what so many people are going through. That when you read a lot of the paperwork, there was no identity there. You made an identity there.
Yeah.
But if we're not willing to read.
Do you mind if I put this on my YouTube channel?
No mind at all, because this is all out there.
Because I always save my, the serious ones, but I always save my video from live, and I just hit the save button, it goes to my phone. I haven't put it on my YouTube channel in a while, but I would love for this to be up on there.
Well, and so here very soon, we're going to have a nice panel of people from all different sorts of backgrounds who are in positions to assist us. Our job is to make sure that we are ready for this. I'm ready.
Well, if ever you need me, even if I can sit in the background and my life can just watch you, this is very educational, and you can just probably just, sometimes just do it. I can just go sit outside in the car. Well, because I would love for them to listen to what you're saying, because this is it's enlightening.
So how easy it is, it's real easy. So if you did a model, let's just say, you would say, all right, my model is false incarceration compensation. You'd introduce yourself, you name off the model, you say, okay, I'm holding up a dismissed case. You might cite off the case number. So with that being said, this model should already qualify for compensation because the case has already been dismissed.
Okay.
And you stop. Okay. And then the next person, so they would have another model. Let's say they're the condemned building tenant model. So then they would hold up something and say, which is not in this book. So they will hold up and say, hey, I rented out in Blackjack, this property, and it was condemned.
I just moved from over there.
And here's the inspection report from the building inspector at the time this petition was filed in court. So you would show the date, showing that it was condemned, and you might have your finger on the petition that was filed in court asking for rent. So I believe right there the panel will clearly see that the building was condemned and that a petition was filed in court for rent on a condemned building.
And that's the process.
And that's the process. Boom. And then the next person, let's say their model is illegal eviction compensation. All right? So let's say now they're homeless. They've been evicted. So we didn't even get to what they will bring for the illegal eviction. So I'm going to say on there, let's say they have an illegal eviction notice. Now, to know that they got evicted illegally, there's one thing you would have to know. What made the notice illegal? So that part I would have to teach. And so once I go through the laws and show you what the number is, the minimum amount of days and the maximum amount of days, and if they're, let's say it's 30 days, it's not it. That's not the minimum. But let's say it is. And their notice was 12 days. Well, 12 is less than 30, and that would be an illegal eviction, correct?
Yeah.
All right. So that's what I mean by you got to make sure you understand what is coming out your mouth. So this part is the leaf that grows, because now we're growing something actually green and pretty out of all this mess.
Yeah.
We can grow the truth. We can grow a resolution. Once we start from the seed, I was falsely incarcerated. I rented a condemned building. I was illegally evicted. See, those are seeds.
And then there can be categories of what people can go to your page to get help with, because you have so many different, I see what you're saying.
Right.
So they can click on that and say, okay, I can get help with illegal eviction. And then they might see a friend that went through something different and say, oh, look at this video from her. This will help you with that. So this is, yeah.
And so the goal is now across the country, people understand out of Model 3, whether you're in Missouri, Florida, it don't matter. They understand in Model 3 that there's a minimum amount of days that they're supposed to give every tenant for it to be a legal eviction.
Right.
And anything less than that is considered illegal.
Right.
Boom. So it don't matter if you black, white, green, purple, straight, gay, it don't matter.
Yeah.
So one of the things I do have a conflict with that comes up a little bit, a lot of people want to do this UCC and holler off, you know, changing their nationalities and doing this. I represent people of all different races and colors.
Yeah.
So I can't be switching them being black to white and
Yeah.
How about let's do the state laws and let's find out and understand how they cheated us across the board.
Yeah.
Across history forever.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Most definitely.
So that's where we get our unity at. Because there's white people who got money that's been cheated, and they waiting for us to get ourselves together.
Right.
Okay? Waiting. Because they just like us, they just light-skinned brothers. We'll just say it that way.
Right.
But we all been cheated out of something.
Yeah.
He's got families. He's got so many people already following him. So Mark can say, hey, that group in Missouri can teach y'all how to put your court cases together.
Yeah.
Go over there.
And then they got these how-to videos on YouTube and stuff like that. They need to create a section for this type of stuff.
That's what we're doing.
Yeah, that's good.
And so this is where the series comes in at. And this is where how people can get paid.
Yeah.
You know, commercial tenants.
Yeah.
5 Guys and a Burger. Shaquille O'Neal got stock in that. Well, gee, if one guy from 5 Guys and a Burger